Welcome back to the Imaginary Gallery. It's TJ, your host, the Narcissist Bag of Tricks. The topic for the evening will be the smear campaign. The smear campaign can come in many different incarnations. I'm going to cover a few of these and then end with a personal experience with this very thing. To understand the smear campaign, it's important to keep some information in mind. Assuming you have been involved with a cluster B narcissistic monster creature, you know what they did, which could have involved starting up a new relationship behind your back while pretending like everything was fine with you until the moment came for it to switch and kick you to the curb, or some variation of that. Well, chances are, if you're dealing with this type of creature, you're not the first it's done this to. Chances are, it's done it to a lot of people, which means it has a checkered past, a history full of such events. Imagine if you were this creature. Let's say you just discarded your target because it figured you out. Then you're out there on the scene trying to find a new one. When people meet, it's a common question to ask, "Oh, who did you date previously? Tell me about that." Which isn't first date material usually, but eventually it will come up. Well, imagine if you were this creature who has spent its life going into people's lives under false pretenses, pretending to be everything the other person wanted. The other person figured them out. It ended. It found someone else before it ended with the first. None of that's going to paint a pretty picture. For example, on a brand new date with someone new. It's very doubtful that anyone's going to say, "Hi, nice to meet you. Oh, yeah, my ex, oh, yeah. I stole all of her money. I told her I was just like she was, and she bought it, and she finally figured me out and kicked me out. Now I'm single. I want to date." They will never say that. You have to learn, too, to listen to what they do say and try to figure out what really happened in many cases. So the fact is they cannot market themselves with reality. Unlike those of us who don't play that game, don't wear a fake mask. We just are who we are and say, "This is who I am. I'm not going to fake anything." If you don't like it, well, good that you found that out now. If you do, well, let's see what happened. Different types of smear campaign. The first one would be an obvious one, like right after the breakup. It's very common for these types of creatures to smear you to others by oftentimes taking elements of what they did to you and telling the new person, "Oh, my ex was horrible. He or she used me and lied to me and cheated," and all this stuff, because it makes it seem like this creature is a poor victim, because remember, they love to play the role of the victim and or the hero. That is one of the most obvious examples where the relationship has ended, they're pursuing a new one, and you may come up somewhere like, "Is that your ex?" And chances are the person's smeared your name. Now the problem with all this is, if you are a person like some of us who value the truth and don't spend your life switching masks for different purposes and agendas, you may be somewhat naive to think that you know what that evil creature did. You know it's going to have to live with that, thinking, of course, as if it has a conscience. You may choose not to do much of anything because you figure the truth speaks for itself. You figure that other people are truthful like you are. Well, when you're dealing with this type of creature, those rules don't apply. Which means you may be confident thinking, "Well, I know I did nothing wrong. I was the one who discovered him or her with that other person. I was discarded so it could go off with that other person." Well, guess what? With this creature, you did do something wrong. Those facts will not be mentioned. Those facts will be swept under a rug. You will be painted as an evil, vindictive witch, just like it actually is. It's projecting onto you what it did for this new person. You may find yourself seeing it in public and just acting confident, not saying much of anything, because you again figure things speak for themselves. You were the one who was discarded. But a lot of times that's not the story that was told to the new potential target. The second type would be if, for example, there's triangulation and the person's transitioning over to the new one and has finally switched over to tell you it's over. The smear campaign can involve evil behaviors such as showing up at your favorite place that maybe you go to on your own and bringing some new partner to flaunt in front of you, which sounds like grade school behavior, which it is, because remember, these people never matured into an adult. They're still back on the playground in their mind. But that's common where they will, for example, be with their new partner, be sure to shove it in your face and act in ridiculous ways, such as making sure you're in the room and then grabbing them and, oh yes, and kissing them in front of you, hoping it'll cause some reaction, which I've had that happen before. I would just leave the room because I knew it was being done as a show. I knew that regularly this person wouldn't be here, but it is tonight with this creature, and I could tell it was for my benefit, so rather than react, I escaped and went to a different area. A third type of the smear campaign can occur during the time that you're actually still involved with the creature, and this of course is where they show their trick of being two-faced. So they may still be carrying things on with you as if everything's fine while they secure their new supply. But during this time, they'll be telling the new supply horrible things about you while still acting nice to you. And I've had the pleasure of overhearing a conversation during such an event and got to hear exactly how it was representing me to the new person while it was pretending to be just fine and dandy with me at the same time, and I could see through it. I thought, this is what they do. So they'll be devaluing you to someone else by saying something like, oh, I don't really like that person. Oh, I'm about to dump him or her. Oh, but then to you act like everything's okay until, of course, that discard moment comes, and then I've decided it's not going to work. It's over, bye, and they're gone. And the last one on this list, long after everything's ended, the smear campaign can still be going on, unbeknownst to you. And that's where we get into my personal situation, which I had the opportunity to witness. I've had many ideas of what it looks like, and it became confirmed. There was the person I was involved with, the creature, for over a decade, which ended. And of course, those first few in the list, I'd gone through some of those, so there were times when I didn't even want to talk to the person, but then years passed, and it's kind of like, we have some kind of history together, but doesn't mean I want another one. But you can sometimes find it in your heart to just be friendly and let it go. However, the creature I was involved with has actually gone through at least 3 different new romances that have all ended over the last few years, and I had the opportunity of hearing how I was being reviewed to the public. Keep in mind, I just saw the person, and the person was intoxicated and said, oh, I love TJ. But then I hear a different side from another source, which again shows you the different masks switch for whatever the goal is for the moment. So it may be real nice to me and then run off to someone else and say, oh, he's sick and he's crazy, even though we just had a regular conversation and the person was nice. The gullible person who was given the information evidently believed it all, but I was given a rundown of what I did to this person all those years ago. I'm going to give you the story that was given, counter it with the reality. Number 1 on the list was, I kicked this person out of its house. The rebuttal for that is, first off, it wasn't my house. I deliberately left my name off the 2 houses that we lived in. I had some feeling in the back of my mind that something wasn't right and just felt like if I keep my name off that, then kind of like a protective measure, just in case. It also meant when I did finally buy my own home, I'd be a first-time home buyer and I could take advantage of the money off that was given at one time. No way I can kick someone out of their own house. The second on the list was, I stole all this person's money, which is impossible because, first off, another precaution I took, finances were separate. My checking, my information was all mine. Its was all its, and they never intermingled. Now, I would write the bills out and I would deduct this off the rent to cover the insurance that it was taking advantage of. So I was actually trusted with those finances the whole time. That translates to, TJ stole all my money. Lies. And then number 3, which I think this one must be mixed in with somebody else because it doesn't apply, but I stole this person's mother's pills from its medicine cabinet and blamed it on the other person. that's not even possible. I never was near a medicine cabinet of this person's parents, so that's why I think that might have been taken from another situation and thrown into mine. But no, I didn't take anybody's medicine, nor was I even aware that there was such a medicine cabinet. Ooh. And then the fourth item, I hit this person and was violent to it, but then turned around and told everyone else that it hit me, which is a lie again because I try not to use any kind of violence. I figure people can resolve conflicts with simple discussion, simple looking at their side and the other person's side and coming to some kind of conclusion, some kind of harmony. The truth was, though, that in a fit of rage, I did take a belt at one point and I slapped it onto a couch, but not onto another person. But I would like slap it and say, "You are not going to do this." Slap it. "I can't believe that you're going to do what you're doing." And at one point it was on the phone with its mother, and I went over to it while it was on the phone with the mother and I said, "Your child is a liar and a cheater and a sick person." And I was shoved aside. "Be quiet, be quiet." But those are a few examples of what this looks like. As I said before, it's very easy for you to have no idea this is going on because most of us would never think to even do such a thing. If you're involved with one of these creatures and it's over, you don't need to go around asking what was said, what was said. Just be aware that chances are you've been smeared in some way, even if you were the one who was discarded. So keep that in mind and proceed accordingly.
I am the most beautiful Narcopath you'll ever meet.
I'm here to give you a few more confessions too, like when we first dated. You told me very clearly that you were Christian. I said, "Oh, I am too. I believe in every word of the Bible." I sure did. And then, after we dated a few nights, and you witnessed me stealing from the grocery store on the corner, you witnessed me lying to my parents, you witnessed me disrespecting my father, and you saw me kill that little bird and that little mouse. You were perplexed. You were thinking, how could you be such a Christian if you just did those things I just mentioned? Well, honey, I don't put two and two together. I had no idea that was against the rules of being Christian. I just said I was because you were. And of course, when you asked, why'd you kill that bird? I was like, I normally wouldn't, but I only did that because, and I forgot what excuse I gave you, but it was retarded. And I don't know if you bought it or not. Well, you must have because we dated for 6 more months. Lying to the mother? Well, I don't normally lie to my parents, but I had to this time because we couldn't have gone on this vacation together if I would have told her the truth. Are you upset about that? And that got you to shut your mouth. And then the other time, you questioned me stealing that liquor from the store. Well, I didn't have my ID that day. I was going to pay it back. So you think. You bought all of it.
Since I'm giving you confessions,
Let me tell you how I see the world. I know you hinted many occasions trying to find out how I saw the world. I just heard it off something I heard somebody else say, which obviously didn't match up to the reality, but I couldn't tell you the truth. Well, honey, today's your lucky day. As the Narcopath, I'm going to tell you how I see all of you goyim out there. Basically, this world revolves around me. That's right, anything that happens, if it rains, and it's a day I had planned to go to a banquet dinner in a white dress and heels, and it rains, I figured someone's doing that to me on purpose. Because everything revolves around me. If I make plans with you, and you have to cancel, well, then I just assume it's something I've done, and I keep that in mind, and next time you invite me somewhere, I'll be sure to have a similar excuse. But in general, how do I see the world we live in? I know the center of the universe is me, because I am the Narcopath. I have to accept there are all kinds of others out there. In a nutshell, basically, everybody else out there is either an obstacle or an opportunity. That's it. You could compare this. For example, the way you have traffic laws. You know how the green light means go and the red light means stop? Well, I'm the Narcopath, so if I need to be somewhere on a specific day, I drive up to a stoplight and it's red, but I'm in a hurry. Think I'm going to care about that red light? I'm going to speed right through it. However, if On another occasion, one of you all out there think you're going to do the same thing, and I'm in the opposite lane actually stopped because of another car, and you do the same thing. Ooh, I will stomp my high heel on the floor mat of the car and curse. Who does that person think they are? You're either somebody who can scam or somebody who's an obstacle in the way. And many times I try to convert those obstacles into evildoers. If you're one that would normally be considered an obstacle, I may just try to be your friend and be as sweet as possible to you because I might need your services. Like the time in that business when we worked together, I was really trying to get with that hot secretary. I knew you knew her, so I decided to become your friend. And every interaction we had, I made sure I was polite and courteous and so sweet because I knew one day the time would come when secretary would ask you, who's that you're talking to? What do you know about her? And you'd have nothing but good things to say. Personally, I couldn't stand you. I couldn't stand your nasty cologne, the way you wore that blue eyeliner. That was disgusting. But I would say, oh, your eyes look really pretty. And it worked. Yes, people are either an opportunity or an obstacle. Fortunately, this world is full of obstacles in my way, trying to prevent me from getting what I want. Well, I usually have ways to take care of them. Hopefully this helped you understand just a little bit more.